Claire.
On belay, climb when ready, Rob. So what we're going to do now is we're going to head down to the bottom of the crag and you're going to have a go at leading, but you are going to have a safety line on. So you're going to lead the route, have a go at placing runners, get into the top and build in your own belay, bringing the climber up to you. But you're going to have a safety line on so you're safe the whole time as well. You are effectively leading, you're using all the skills you would to lead, but you're on a bottom rope. So Rob over here is belaying you, keeping you safe as you're going. So although you're using those skills, you're super safe the whole time. Whilst you're doing it, I'm going to be next to you so we can talk about the gear placements and talk about the belay, so I'll be there with you the whole time. It's really good practice to get a little bit of gear in quite close to the ground, because not only does it protect you, but also protects your belayer. Because if you do fall, it's going to go through that gear.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that looks great to me. I'd much rather place a piece of gear while I'm stood somewhere relaxed than midway up a crux move.
Okay.
Great, so can you see anything around there?
I can see a good one here.
A groove there?
Yeah.
For a nut, is it?
Yeah. I might put
Yeah, that looks fab.
a small nut.
Can you fit your fingers in?
Okay, yeah.
If you can't, it's one of your small nuts.
Right, okay.
Yeah, unless you've got really, really tiny fingers.
Ooh, that's good.
So take a minute to work out where you're going while you're stood there.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go up here.
Oh, it's like it was made for it.
Oh my God. Wow, that went straight in.
It did, yeah.
I'm going to go for a small one.
Yeah?
Yeah.
A little nut?
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, so in behind, then I'd come this way.
Oh, this way?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, there, you see that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Ah,
Yeah.
so
Boosh.
good. Yeah.
Boom.
So it's a really nice way to use nuts, and it's really worth remembering they don't have to just go in vertical cracks. They can go in that way and it'll still protect you.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I like.
Beautiful. Yeah, so check it. Check that you're happy. So pull it tight. Check that your great brakes are going the right way.
Yeah.
Perfect. Now you shout on belay, climb when ready, Rob.
Yeah.
On belay, climb when ready, Rob. Great, so before we finish for the day, let's just do one final ghost lead. We're going up a slightly steep route as well, so it gives you a chance to see how you feel on that. And then tomorrow, we'll have a go at leading single pitch without the ghost line, but I'll still be here next to you. Yeah! Bomber, good choice. Nice one. That's a really nice place to stand.
Right.
It's 2 easy steps of climbing to get there, and then I can see there's definitely more gear. So then I might just move past it rather than sort of trying to find a piece of gear where there isn't any. But it is judgment. You sort of decide when and where you might do that. Great, so now you can definitely better get it. Just before you put a cam on is check that block. So put one hand on it, yeah, and bang it. Does the other hand feel any vibration?
No.
No? Cool. I reckon I spend 80% of my time looking for good footholds and 20% for handholds. Yeah, nice one.
Yeah, just you have to really think about where your last bit of gear is, and you know, trying to imagine doing that on lead will feel a lot different.
Today Claire's going to be leading a single pitch route. This time she's going to do it without a safety line. So she'll be leading the route, placing the gear and building the belay on her own. But I will be there next to her the whole time on my own line, checking that she's happy and checking everything that she's doing is correct. So what we need to do before we go is get racked up and get the rope sorted. So we've got a full rack down here. Because we're doing a 50-metre pitch, we need to take a large rack to make sure we've got enough to place enough gear to keep us safe all the way up and have enough left over to build the belay at the top. And then we've got a double set of ropes. So far the leading you've done has been on a single rope, This time we're going to introduce using 2 at the same time, which will explain more as we go.
Cool.
All right, have you got any questions?
So would I need to take 2 sets of walnuts as it's a longer pitch?
So the other climb we've done has been shorter, so we've taken a relatively small rack.
Yeah.
We've got lots down here, and taken a double set of nuts. And sometimes a double set of cams is a really good idea when you're doing longer pitches, and certainly multi-pitch, because you need multiple bits of gear for the pitches and the belays.
Yeah.
So we have got a double set of nuts here.
Cool.
All right, so let's get you get yourself racked up, and we'll get the rope sorted, and then we're ready to go.
Cool.
Amazing. We're racked up, so we need to flake the ropes out, and then we're ready to go. So we're on doubles, so we need one on left and one on right. If we flake these out, and so what we've got here, the venue choice we've got, is we've got a really easy route for you. So the idea is when we're first starting to lead, we don't want to have to think about the climbing too much. So if you imagine you have 100% of your concentration, so you have 100%, what you want to be doing is spending about 20 of it on climbing, and the rest you want to concentrate on placing gear, building your belays and knowing what you're doing there, and which is why we've come somewhere super simple for climbing.
Cool.
That's why we're going up these big old slabs. So what you want to do there is just make sure that tail is out so the seconds can tie in, so just lob your tail out a bit more. They're your ends, so you've got the top ends of the rope, so you need to tie into both of those.
Cool.
And your red one wants to go on the right of your harness, and the blue one comes on the left of your harness, because that's the way around we've got them.
Cool.
We're tied in, ready to go. So what we tend to do before we set off is just do a quick body check. So you've tied in, and Rob here, who's belaying you and seconding the climb, is also tied in. And he's got you on belay, and it's just worth double checking before you go that you can see that Claire's done it right, and Claire, you can see that Rob has done it right, but also has you on belay correctly. Once that's done and you're happy with that, we can start. As we're setting off, the final thing to check is where your belay is stood. So what you want Rob to be is quite close into the water to start with. If your belay is stood too far back when you set off, your initial runners can be pulled out if you fall and wake the system because of the angle that the rope comes tight, so it just flicks those runners out.
I'm going to go red on this one.
Yeah, red. So because you're going straight up, either would be fine there.
Cool.
So that's good choice. Nice one. Your line's fairly straight, and as this is sort of as far left as you're going, so you might as well clip it on your left line. Also means that Rob's now got you on both your left rope and your right rope.
Great.
Nice one. How's that?
I feel like that's good.
Nice one.
Cool. I might go for red.
Red, I think red's a good idea because it
Yeah.
just takes you back off your blue again. Lovely. So looking down, just checks that your ropes aren't twisted, which they're not, so they're perfect. And just checking, you're just aware of where your last bit of gear is as well.
Yeah.
So just keeping a track of that. So remember to look down as well as up.
Yeah.
So you can use those extendable ones without extending them as well.
Yeah.
So you can just leave them as they are. Just when you're stood somewhere nice, just check how many quick draws you've got left. Don't be stingy on your gear, it's just being aware of how much you have got left.
Cool.
So that you don't end up without anything. Cool. That's nice. Cool. Nice one. Well done. So, first lead without a safety line.
Yeah.
They're fab. You just want to make sure you clip through all of those little strands. Yeah, great. So if this belay had been a small ledge, or if you've been on a steeper angled thing, often the first piece of gear I place my belay, I clip in like a runner, and it just keeps you safe straight away. We were looking at creating an anchor that each piece of gear is independent. So you've ticked that there.
Yeah.
That everything's pointing in the right direction. So not only are the pieces of gear pointing in the right direction, is our belay pointing in the right direction for where we're going to be. And we've ticked that. And then, so that's I and D. E was equal, or equalised. Are all of these equally in use.
Yeah.
And they are, you know, you don't want, you see how that's not equalised, but that is. And then can you remember A? Everyone always forgets A.
Angle?
Yeah, angle. So angle is this angle that we've got here. So each belay has an arrow in it somewhere. And we want this angle to be less than 90 degrees. Most people can do 90 degrees with their finger and thumb. So you want that to be less, and yours is. So you've ticked every single box.
Yeah.
And you've done a wonderful job. You just need to attach to it.
Cool. Okay.
Great. And what you could use your red rope here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just because your blue rope's keeping you safe. Nice one. You sat down for belay, so you're in position, but what you can see has happened here is your beautifully equalised anchor has been pulled slightly off route. And that's okay. There's a quick fix for that, certainly with a sling belay. So this one's a little loose. So what we can do is come back up to this one here. If you see, if I unscrew that, I take this, and if you lean in a sec, I can put a wrap around there, and then it's brought it. Screw that back up.
Oh yeah.
That's it. So then we've got those. It's still a tiny bit looser, but it is equalised again.
Cool.
You could always shift a tiny bit to the side. So
Yeah.
Then, yeah, perfect. So then you've got
Okay.
that's back on track.
Cool.
Great. All right. So nearly there. What do we need to do next?
I need to shout down to Rob that I'm safe.
Yeah.
I'm safe, Rob!
Great. Yeah. So as you're pulling the rope up, just pop it over the side of your harness there, so it keeps it nice and tidy. So if the rope's tight on him,
Yeah.
what do we need to do for him to climb?
Shout. I need to put him on
You
belay.
do.
Yeah.
You do.
Sorry.
Oh.
Yeah,
That's it. So let a little slack down.
Yeah.
That's it. And then we're putting him on belay. The reason you didn't pull loads of rope up is because you climbed a pitch that's nearly as long as your rope.
That's why.
Yeah.
Yes.
So when you pulled the rope up, it came onto him really quickly because we've climbed about 50 metres.
Yeah.
Give it a check before you shout. Nice, and just check which is your braking hand. So that's your braking hand, so pulling up, locking off back towards your belay, that's where you're dumping your rope.
Yeah.
Swapping over and coming back down.
Yeah.
Nice one.
Cool.
Happy?
Yeah. And then I shout down to Rob, climb when ready.
Yeah.
Climb when ready, Rob!
Now belay.
Cool.
So what I do with that is more of a down and up motion. So bring, down, up, cross your hands over. So you're sort of going down and up. Perfect. And it's quite a sharp, snappy motion
Okay.
to reduce the amount of time you spend with it not locked off. So that twist that you're doing with your hand is great. That's what I do to check if I'm on them.
Yeah.
It just means you're not yarding them up the crag as well. It's really horrible being a second minute like pulling you in and pulling you in all the time.
Once you get to the top, Rob, if you could just climb past me and get to somewhere safe.
So it's nice to go somewhere safe just to make sure the second's not stood right on top of the crag. So I want to go well back from the top so that they can't tip off it. So what we need to do now is get ourselves sorted to abseil down.